Hi there, welcome to my hobby bench. My name is Ken, and this is another episode of Terminator Tuesday. Alright, now we're on to issue 9 here, and issue 9 has us doing the side of the head. So we have, for parts here, we have like this part of the skull, and then some internals, which are going to go in there, and 3 screws. The screws are 2 by 4 millimeter. We only need 2 of them. They give us an extra one, which is always good. And this is the right side of the head. So what Todd does, Marvel Phoenix, I'm following his build, and what he does here is he actually puts in, he uses like a wash to accentuate the details. He uses a black wash in here. So I am going to do the same. He uses the one from Viejo, their game wash. What I do have is I have some Tamiya accent panel line color. So I'll use a bit of this. And all we're going to do is we're going to take that and we're going to put it in here just to bring out the details. So let's see how this looks. And it always can be cleaned out if you don't like the way it's looking. So just like that. Just kind of gets down into the grooves and stuff, and just adds that heavier metal kind of look that's capturing bits of gunk or oil or who knows what, lubricant of some sort that these parts use. So just kind of all over the place. Trying to keep it off just the flat spots like this. I want it more in the recesses, along the edges, that sort of thing. So kind of like that is what we have. So that's looking good. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to orientate this piece here just like that. And then we're going to take our skull part just like that. And we're just going to marry them up so that our screw holes here line up with the screw hole there. So we'll just put them together like that, and there you have it. Now, because this is going into metal, what I'm going to do is I am going to use some 3-in-1 oil. So I have a little 3-in-1 oil here, just like that. And I'm using my PH00 screw driver. There we go. Yeah, sorry if my hands are kind of getting in the way here. I'll do that. You can see the I touched that part there and got some of the panel line accenter on my hands. But we can kind of take a look. And if you don't like how much is there, you can just kind of come in with a, tissue or something. You can just wipe off the high spots, just like that. And it'll kind of give you that effect. So looking really good. So once we have that, that is the end of that stage. So we'll move on to stage 10. All right, now we're in issue 10 here. So the first step we're going to do is take our faceplate. I've gone and just removed it from the front of the face. Not a big deal. I don't really have it in there permanently. It's just kind of, I just have it kind of snapped in place normally just because I like the look of it. But what we're going to do here is we're going to add these eye cover sockets in here. So all it requires is you use some thicker CA glue. So I've got some thicker CA glue set aside over here along with a toothpick. And there are 2 pins on each side of each eye, and then you just need to take your proper eye and figure out, so this one here would go in like that, and then all it is your pins are going to go into these holes on either side here and here. You want your long part to the top and angled into the center. So I'm just going to dry fit it. So just like that, we can see, yeah, it's going to fit in there. Shouldn't be any issues. Oh, missed the pin. But there you go. That's what it's going to end up looking like. Something like that. So what we'll do is we will come back here, take this out, and we'll glue these in. So all I'm doing is taking a bit of my CA glue and just putting it on my pins here. I'll take a little bit and put them in the holes. Now, just a quick check. I don't think these can go into the wrong eye. I think they are, yes, they are only going one way. So like I said, it kind of slopes this way, which is going to go to the right eye. And you just make sure we have our pins lined up. And drop them onto their pins. There we go. Make sure they're pushed in all the way, like that. And there's one. We'll do the same thing on the other side. We'll just, again, take a little bit of our CA glue onto the pegs. And I kind of like to put it also into the hole there, just so we get some maximum adhesion, at least in my mind. Okay, and again, we'll orientate this correctly. Now, you didn't see me test fit this, but I did test fit them before I even turned on the camera. So there we have our second one in place. Making sure, no, I missed the pin there on that side. So make sure the pins are in place. There we go. That should prevent you from having really bad gaps up in here. So that's all it is. So we now have our eye sockets in place, looking really good. Let's take a look. That really closes in the eyes nicely, giving that a better effect. So that's it for that step. The next step is we're going to create some more, I was going to say some more fingers, but one more finger. So we have our parts as before. Now we're not going to use these extra parts here, so I'll move them out of the way. We are using from Model Mods of the Terminator finger joints. So I'll pull some parts out that we're going to need. First off, let's attach our fingertip. And as we know, we are just using CA glue to attach that. So it's a nice dollop of that. There we have it. We take our next 2 finger joints and they should be ready to go. So in this case, you're going to notice there's a shorter one and a longer one. So we want to use the shorter one first, then the longer one. And then we'll have our knuckle one here. We're going to need our, as we learned from doing the knuckles on the previous finger here, we know that we need this one here's the longest of the set. So we need that. We need one of these sleeves and just one of these covers. So let's get our pieces out here for our finger from the Model Mod set. So we're going to need 4 screws, 2 joints, and now that we know the secret, we're going to also need 2 washers for each knuckle. There's those 2 brass fittings, and then we'll need 4 of the washers. Okay, so again, you remember how we're doing this. We're taking a little bit of CA glue into the finger joint. And we just screw in this in here. So there we go. I'm using the hex driver from this screwdriver set. And remember, I'm leaving this nut driven in all the way. We found that was what works best for getting these 2 washers in there. And now remember too, we want the curved, rounded sides facing each other. That also seems to help. Then we'll take a little bit of our CA glue. Just like that. Put it in there. Get our finger joint into place. Our next nut. Here we go. Nice and tight. We have a finger joint that has good resistance. There we go. All right, let's move on to the rest of the fingers. So there we go, we have it. Next up, we've got to take our joint here. This is where Todd again uses his vise to do this, finding that it works the best, or to have a second person around. I don't have either, but so far I've managed. I think last time I did use a set of pliers with plastic grips that I had from my airbrush set from my Wada. Alright, so we will take, I believe, what did I come in from the top? Yes, the top, where the, so this will give us the bigger knuckle as opposed to this on the bottom, which looks smaller. Alright, with the careful help of my Iwata pliers here with the plastic grips, I was able to get this into place. And we just take our next finger, and we have this low spot here. That's going to go underneath here, like that. And then we can just glue in our next joint. I'm going to have to get some more CA glue though. So give me a minute, I'll get that set up. Be right back. All right, now that I have my excess or a little bit extra CA glue, I can take it and drop it in there and put this last pin in place. And there we have it. We have a middle finger. So let's put that in a more respectable pose like that. And our hand is coming along nicely. All right, that's it for issue 10. Let's move on to issue 11. All right, so here we are moving on with issue 11. In issue 11, we're working on assembling the neck and jaw joints. So these are the parts that come in that this part, issue 11. We're also going to need our lower jaw assembly from earlier, as well as the lower jaw actuator. So we'll get started. All right, so the first thing they're going to have us do is put together our neck mechanism here. Now in this set, the screws all come in one pack with 2 different size screws in there. There's I believe it's 2x6 and 2x10s. So let's separate them. There's our 3 2x10s and our 4 2x6s. Now we only need 3 2x6s and probably only going to need 2 2x10s. So we're going to start with the neck piece here. What you can see here is we have our screw holes here and here. And this is all plastic, so we're not going to be needing any oil for this step. So all we got to do is fit this together, just like that. And then we're going to insert our 2x6 screws. So we have screw holes right here, here, and down here. So that's where our screws are going to go. Again, no oil required, as these are going into plastic. All right, so that's it for these steps here. All right, so I'm going to be installing the actuating piece here to the lower jaw. Now I did find an issue here. I've had to record this part several times because these bushings would not fit through this metal hole here. And what I had to do was come in with just a really small needle file and just sand down the edge there, because there was a little bit of flashing, as well as one of these holes on the side here, the smaller holes instead of the larger ones. The smaller one here was not allowing the pins on the sides of the actuator. There's 2 pins on each side. Wouldn't allow one of them to actually fit into place. So what we need to do here is now we can take our actuator part and put it into place. Now you still need to put a little force on here once you get the holes in place, just to make sure that it's in place. Not a lot, just kind of give it a little push. And then we're going to take our neck part that we assembled in the last episode, and these 2 little bumps on each side are going to fit up into the little slots that are on the inside of each of these actuators. Or I should say it's only one actuator. This part here is going to be the roof of the mouth. So you just bring it up so that those 2 slots slide into place like that. And we take our bushings here. Now it should fit in there hopefully all the way. And it does. That's great. Take one of our 10mm screws with our 2x10s. And we just screw it in place like that. I'm going to stop there for a moment and get the other side lined up and do the same. Get our bushing in place. Again, it drops in all the way. Just a slight sanding helped. So to me it seems like there's almost a little bit of an issue of flashing left behind. Okay, so now we're just going to get these screws into place. And you know what I should have done? Now that I'm thinking about it, I should have put some oil on here because it is going into metal. So let's do that. Let's take a little bit of our 3-in-1 oil. Just put a little bit on the screw. That's much better. And we can drive it in all the way. We'll do the same on the other side here. We'll pull this one out. We'll get a little 3-in-1 oil on there. And then we can insert that one all the way as well. All right, that's it for issue 11. That's all we've done. We've assembled this neck joint piece here, and we've put the upper part of the mouth and the neck part onto the jaw. And we have our neck piece here we haven't done anything with yet, but there we have it. So let's move on to issue 12. All right, here's the parts we have for issue 12. So we have our forearm part B, forearm part A. We have some long springs, a little pack of screws, and this is forearm part C. So we'll get into putting those together. We're also going to need a little bit of CA glue as well. All right, so here we go. We got step 1, 2, and 3 is basically taking these springs and we're going to be inserting them into this forearm part C. So into these little grooves here. You want one spring in each groove. So to secure them in place, we're going to be using a little CA glue. So we'll just take one of our grooves here, put our CA glue in here. Just be careful not to glue yourself to yourself or to the parts. So that's all it takes, is you just glue them in one at a time and let them sit there. So we'll take our next one, and glue that one in. Like that. And just carrying on with the rest of them. Just like that. So those are all in place, so I'm going to let them dry for a few minutes and then we'll carry on. Alright, that's had a few minutes to dry now. So we're going to take our forearm part A here and attach it to our forearm part C. And what we have here is this tube. The round part here we're not dealing with at this time. We're dealing with this end here. And then we have a hole here, which we're going to be lining up with the hole on this side and screwing it together with I believe it's a 2mm by 4mm screw. Now again, this is all plastic, going into plastic, so we're not worried about using our CA glue. Make sure I use the screwdriver. Alright, so there we go, just like that. Now you want to make sure that these raised areas are into these slots. That's how you know you have it lined up properly. So tighten it down. Best not to over tighten it. Alright, there we have it. Our parts A and C are connected. And we'll come back here and we'll attach the next part. All right, now we're going to move on to attaching our forearm part B to our AC assembly here. Now what it is, we're not dealing with this end, we're dealing with this end here. And what we have here is this plate. It's got a groove, as you can see, right over here. And that groove is going to line up with this groove here. So we're not putting this center hole over this tube. We're putting it, this one here with this little notch, or this little pin. If we can see that, right there in front of my fingernail. That's going to go down into this groove here, like that. So it's this hole here, it's getting screwed into this hole here. And in this case, again, it's plastic into plastic, so we won't need any 3-in-1 oil. And then what we're going to use is a 3x13 millimeter screw. Right here. I think I may need a bigger screwdriver for this. Nope, that one should do. So, make sure we're going the right direction. So we have a dull side and a shinier side. The dull side goes down. Also so that just that pin fits in that groove. And just insert a screw. Like that. So again, this is the 3x12 millimeter screw. You get 2 of them. Same as always, you end up with 1 extra. So there we have it. That's our assembly here. Just like that. Alright, so that's it for this episode. That we finish up here with issue 12. Next episode we'll be starting with issue 13. So thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.